Hi, everybody. It is Cooking with Gracie Love. And of course, I am your host, Gracie Love. Now, it has been a long time since I have had this dish, and I'm taking you back to my childhood today. One of my favorite things, being from the Midwest, from Chicago, is mostaccioli. Now, I know you guys are like, what the heck is a mostaccioli? If you're from the East Coast, you probably call it baked ziti. So it's something like lasagna, but we're going to use a different kind of noodle, the rigatoni noodles, not the little mini penny ones. I like the rigatoni ones because they're much like the mostaccioli noodles that we used to get when I was younger. So again, it's like a lasagna with the pasta, the meat, the cheese, the sauce, all that yummy goodness. And again, it's one of my childhood favorites. My mom would make it only like once or twice a year. And so I had to learn how to make it so that way I could have it when I was craving it in between her occasional makings of the dish. So again, I'm really excited to be bringing you guys one of my childhood favorites. And of course, you can also find this recipe inside of the cookbook, which you can get on Amazon Quick Fix Meals by yours truly. So go ahead and get your copy of that so you can have this recipe. Okay, guys? So let's get started. So like I said, for this recipe, I like to use the rigatoni pasta, and I already have that cooked and sitting and waiting. All right, so you just want to cook that and follow the directions. About 10 to 12 minutes will give you some pretty tender noodles, but it depends on how soft you like your noodles, or you like a little bit of crunchiness to your noodles. That's going to depend on you. But I like to wait till they're really poofy. Like I said, just tender enough, not so much falling apart, breaking apart, but just tender enough where it's, I can bite through it and I'm not getting it too tough. So I got that all set, and I also put some olive oil on it once I drained it. Do not rinse the pasta. I know a lot of us rinse our pasta, but that's more common if you're doing a cold pasta dish. You want to rinse that pasta. When you're doing more of a warmer dish with the pasta, you don't want to rinse it. You just want to drain it, let it cool, and then put some kind of an oil on it. You can use butter. I like to use olive oil because it gives it a much better taste when you're using your dish. But again, you can use butter. It is the same, okay? But again, it gives it a nice little taste, and it also prevents your pasta from sticking while you're doing your other things, okay? So my pasta's done. I'm going to go ahead and get this meat on. The type of meat that I'm using today is going to be ground beef, and I have my mild ground Italian sausage. Now, if you don't eat pork, you can totally skip the Italian sausage, but I like to have that mixed in with that ground beef. It gives it a nice flavor, and it's really good again with different Italian pasta dishes. So I have my ground beef here. I'm going to put that into my pan. My pan is hot. I'm not putting any oil or any grease into it because that ground beef and that Italian sausage, they're going to produce their own oil. And so I don't want to over oil that. So we're going to just put it right in. Again, my wok is hot, so you're going to hear it sizzle up really nice. Okay. So in goes my ground beef. Now I'm going to add in my ground Italian sausage. Okay, right into there. And then I like to season some stuff up, not too much, because that Italian sausage is going to give it that salt. It's going to give it that pepper. So you don't need to season it too much, but I am going to add a little bit of seasoned salt. I love turmeric because it's a good thing for your digestive. I'm going to add some garlic salt. And you guys know my favorite seasoning, accent. My mom, she cooked a lot with accent, and so that is one of my main seasonings. Onion powder, and then just a little bit of pepper. All right. Now again, my wok is hot, so I'm going to start cooking this all up because that ground beef on the bottom is cooking up. Ooh, that smells good already. And it's browning nicely. Just want to break that down, get it all cooked up in there. I absolutely just love my wok. I fry in this thing. I saute in this. I just use it for everything. The wok is definitely one of those pans that you'll get your money's worth out of. Oh wow, that smells so good as it's cooking. And I'm making sure my meat isn't sticking because my wok is hot. So we're cooking that really good. Letting it brown, making sure I'm breaking it up. Because I want it to cook. I don't want it to be, extra charred on the outside, but then still kind of pink in the inside. So you want to really pay attention to that. And then, like I said, since my wok is so hot, I want to make sure my meat isn't sticking to my pan because that's going to also give it that charred look. You don't want it. You don't want that. You want it to be brown. You don't want it to be charred. All right. So we'll let that cook up. Should take maybe about 10 minutes. Again, you want it to be nice and brown and cooked very nicely. Again, you want it to be golden brown on the outside, cooked evenly in the inside. Once that gets all cooked up, we'll begin to build our pasta. We'll get our noodles ready and into our dish. And then again, we'll start building our pasta. So let's let this meat cook on up and then I'm ready to build this pasta. You guys, I'm so excited. All right, so now that our meat is all done, it's time to build this dish. So I'm gonna go ahead and take our meat off the stove and let's prepare this dish. So the first thing we wanna start with is the pasta. So I'm gonna take a nice healthy helping of this pasta and put it on as our bottom layer. And again, make sure you put oil on your pasta. It'll help with the sticking of the pasta. So nice healthy helping. And my daughter, she always complains that I don't put enough pasta. So I'm going to make sure we get a nice healthy helping of this on our bottom layer. All right. So making sure that, like I said, the bottom of whatever pan you're using, you don't have to use a pan like I'm using. I just like that it's aluminum, so it's an easy cleanup. But you could use a regular glass casserole dish, whatever dish you have to use, okay? So I want it to be covered to the bottom, just like that. All right? So now I got that. Now I'm going to add my meat to that next. That's going to be the second layer on here. Nice healthy helping of our meat, which again is ground beef and that ground mild Italian. And you can use hot, whatever. I like the mild blend because I don't like that real spicy. So cover all the pasta with your meat. Oh, that looks good. Okay, so that's what it's going to look like once you build your second layer with the meat. Okay, and now we're going to add sauce. Now in here I have three different. I have marinara, I have traditional, and then I have just regular tomato sauce. Okay, so I like to mix all three. You don't have to mix all three. If you just like traditional sauce, if you just like the marinara, I like the marinara because it gives it that sweet taste. I like the traditional because you get that real tomato, and then I like that tomato sauce because it gives you again that tomato flavor because I'm not going to use like diced tomatoes or anything in this dish. And then, like I said, I mix them all together. Again, you don't have to. I don't like to use the meat flavored sauce because we have that ground beef. We have that Italian sausage. I don't need that meat flavor in my sauce. I just want that sauce flavor, okay? So I'm going to just take this and pour it right over that meat. I like it saucy. So you just add the sauce as you like it. But again, I like it saucy. And then I'm going to make sure it's all covered nicely with that sauce. All right. And then this is what you want it to look like once you got that sauce on there. Okay. And then you'll just add your cheese next. I like to use a lot of cheeses. That's one of my favorite things about this dish is all the cheesy goodness. So I'm going to add some Italian cheese. And making sure I cover all the sauce with the cheese. Okay. All right. And then I got some mozzarella. I like the mozzarella because it gives it that pull. It also, mozzarella keeps it, it has that moisture in it as well. So covering that with my mozzarella. Oh, that's so good. Okay, and then next, sharp cheddar. And again, I just love, that's one of my favorite things about this dish is the cheesiness. It just makes life great. All right, so that looks good with the sharp cheddar. And then I'm going to add some Colby Jack. Because like I told you, that's my baby's favorite cheese. So I always use Colby Jack when I'm doing shredded cheese. And she actually got me hooked on the Colby Jack because I had never used Colby Jack until she got it, and that's been her thing ever since. So we got our Colby, and then I'm going to add a little bit of Parmesan as well. Oh, that's going to be so cheesy. It's stupid. So now we're going to just continue on with our layers. So now again, we'll hit it with the pasta. A layer of pasta. And that's why, again, you want to make sure you hit it real good with that oil so it's not clumping. You don't get those clumps of noodle. All right. That is good. And I do have a little bit of noodle left because I want to do one more layer. So I'm going to get about 3 layers out of one box of the rigatoni noodles. And again, it does depend on the size of your pan. If I was using a bigger casserole dish, I'd probably only get 2 layers because it's a little bit longer. So now I'll go back, add my meat. And I'm going to use all the rest of the meat on this second layer. All right. I love my wok. If you can get a wok, get a wok. I'm telling you. It'll change your life. All right. So, got my second layer with my meat. I'm going to go in again with the sauce. Remember, like I told you guys, I like to use the marinara, traditional, and tomato. Okay. And I'm going to save just a little bit because I want to hit that third layer with that sauce. Like I told you, we like it saucy. Oh my gosh. Oh, my favorite. I'm like a kid in a candy store right now, or like kid on Christmas. Okay. And then our cheeses again. And this, you can go in any order. My Parmesan. And I like Parmesan because it gives it that like salty kind of flavoring that I love. Are you guys the type when when you go to those Italian restaurants and they're like, tell me when to stop, and I'll have them standing there forever grinding it down? I know they hate to see me coming. I know they hate to see me coming. So got the Kobe Jack. We're going to do some sharp again. Then mozzarella. This is going to be so cheesy. It's so crazy. All right. And then lastly, our Italian. And I like the Italian because it has all those different blends of white cheeses. So that's really good because you get the provolone, all that, fontina, all of that. All right. So this is our second layer. And then that's what that's going to look like when you got a second layer. Okay. So now we're going to do our last layer. I'm going to finish my noodles. Just get those nice and unsticking. Again, that's why it's really important that you oil those noodles so you don't get that clump. You want to make sure you're getting all the noodles that you can, using as much of that noodle as you can. If they're in clumps, you're not going to get as much, okay? So now that I've got my third little layer of noodle, I'm going to hit it with some sauce. The final finish of our sauce. Oh, that's lovely. Oh, it'd be like that. Okay. All right. Are you guys like me? You like to clean as you go? I learned that is a very important rule in cooking. Clean as you go. Okay. So now that that's all nice and saucy on our third layer, this is so beautiful, you guys. I remember the first time I made this dish on my own and I served it to my mom and her eyes just opened and she was like, oh, this tastes almost like mine. That was the best feeling in the world. So for this one, again, we're going to add that. I'm actually going to do the sharp cheddar last on this one, okay? On this third layer, because I want, when I put it in the oven, I want that sharp cheddar to get that golden brown. That's what gives you that golden brown, cheesy cheesy look. That sharp cheddar, or that cheddar, is what's going to give you that nice cheese crust when we put it in the oven and the cheese is all melted. So I'm doing the Italian. That's pretty. Mozzarella. Right. My Kobe Jack. Oh, it's so pretty. And something else I love about dishes like this is because I could put this in the freezer and save it. And then when I'm ready to make this for dinner, I could take it out and pop it in the oven. So it's a great meal prep. You, like I said, do your pasta, do your meat, and then you can wrap this up with some aluminum foil, pop it in the freezer, and you already have you a pre-made dish already ready for dinner. And then last, like I said, I want to do the sharp cheddar. I want that to be the top layer cheese because when I put it in the oven, I want to get that golden cheesy crust. And that sharp cheddar on the top is going to give me that look. Oh man, that is beautiful. Okay, so there we go. So now that we've got our 3 layers, and again, it depends on, oh, that's heavy. Lord have mercy. That's what it's going to look like once you've got your 3 layers. And again, it's going to depend on what kind of pan you use. If you use a longer casserole kind of a dish, you're going to get more layers. If you use a circular dish, like something you would put your cornbread in or something like that, you're going to get more layers. Okay. So it depends on your pan. But with this pan, I am able to get 3 layers. So now I'm going to put this into the oven. Again, you guys know my favorite setting on my stove is my air fryer setting. So I'm going to use the air fryer setting on mine, but most people do not have that setting. So you want to let this cook for about 25 to 30 minutes in the oven at a 350 degrees, okay? In your oven if you don't have an air fryer setting. 350 degrees in your oven for about 25 to 30 minutes until that cheese is melted. You got that nice crispy brown cheese on the top. That's what you're looking for. So I'm going to pop this into the oven. Again, since mine is on air fry, it's probably going to take mine about 15 minutes to get that cheese nice and melted and I get that nice cheesy crust that I'm looking for. So I'm going to put it in my oven on the top rack. I'm going to close that up. Let's set a timer. I'll set the timer for 15 minutes and then check it from there. So once that cheese is nice and golden brown and melted and delicious, that'll be time for us to plate and enjoy all this good deliciousness. All right, so it's been about 20 minutes that my mostaccioli has been in the oven. That cheese is all nice and golden brown and melted. So let's go ahead and take it out of the oven now. Oh, look how pretty that looks. Oh my goodness. Guys, look at that. That is golden brown and delicious, you guys. So my favorite part after building the dish, eating the dish. So I'm going to go ahead, get my signature glass plate. Going to get my spatula. We're going to need a fork for this. Right. Okay. My favorite part. I've been waiting and waiting. Oh my gosh. It is so thick and cheesy. All those layers. Can you guys see as I cut into this how cheesy? And I put aluminum foil on my pan just because I am one to try to prevent messes. Easy cleanup. Oh, this is so thick. I'm like digging in this right now. Let me get my fork. We're going to need some assistance. Mayday. Okay. Look at that. Look at that pool. That is mostaccioli done right. Woo, baby. Look at that, guys. That is beautiful. Beautiful. Now, I'm going to add some grated Parmesan onto mine. You can use the shredded Parmesan, whatever. I like to use the grated on the top. And I'm going to just get a nice healthy helping of that Parmesan on there. And my favorite part, it's time to eat, guys. Look at that. You see that cheese All that cheese right there, baby. Mm, um, that's my childhood. You can also, for a little extra saltiness, you can add some olives, green olives. That right there, baby, takes it to the top. That is how we used to eat it when I was little. My mom would put some green olives on the top, and baby, that is the best thing ever. Again, you guys, this is Mostaccioli, one of my childhood favorites. You can get this recipe in the cookbook, Quick Fix Meals on Amazon by yours truly. Make sure you guys check that out on Amazon. And you guys got to eat this dish. This is like the best thing ever. Thank you for tuning in to another delicious episode of Cooking with Gracie Love. We made Mostaccioli today.